my son loves Steph Curry, but my son is not Steph Curry. But I think the best, like this is crazy, right? I think the best offensive player in the NBA, like a guy that every kid should watch and every kid should emulate. I don't care if you're fucking 6'10" or you're 5'10", is Trae Young. Trae Young, his footwork is perfect. His handle is perfect. His efficiency is perfect. Like, I get it. He's not he doesn't make shots, but everything he does is perfect.
Yeah.
So when I go to my son, I'm like, listen, you shouldn't watch Steph Curry. Like that's otherworldly. Like that's what he does is like, you can't even teach that. But what you really should do is watch this guy. So like he's just glued to it. Trae Young, Trae Young, Trae Young, Trae Young. And so it's like that's amazing how on Apple TV and YouTube, he can watch hours of Trae Young just all day long, Trae Young. Like we used to have the videotape put in the thing and watch highlights. And it wasn't like learning highlights. It was just dunks and threes and whatever, right? So, no, the information age in sports, and let's not even, I was on Instagram this morning and I saw a guy, you know how like you have a feed of people you follow, but sometimes they throw somebody in there?
Mm-hmm. Algorithm.
I saw this dude in Minnesota training people. I'm like, I can't do that, but I need a guy that could do that to work with my team, right? And I need that right there. And I'll send him that and I'll say, take this guy, study the hell out of him, and I want you to do this with my kids.
Yeah. I see. There's one guy up in New York. I see trains all these guys. I think Brady even went to him.
Brickley?
Yeah.
Chris Brickley? Yeah.
I watch some of the guys. These drills are so fascinating and they're so awesome to watch the things they come up with and then see it translate. Oh, they actually do that in the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you go from, well, we always used to say, you go from the classroom to the drill to the 7-on-7 to the team period. You know, no one sees those drills, the things that you do in order to execute in the team periods,
Yeah.
So it's kind of similar watching these guys. They'll cut up like one little thing and they'll do it 1,000,000 times and then they perfect it. And then it's just,
Has that changed in football?
What?
Here's the big thing. So in basketball, it's the dribble to the gather. Like you could spin that ball or hold that ball out as long as you possibly can, as long as you don't put your hand underneath the ball or put two hands on the ball. And you can take 1,000 steps if you want, right? Yeah. So the whole gather series, like the float and gather is like kind of like James Harden, right? He puts the ball, he floats it, and he goes, and then he shoots it, right? So he's like, it's okay if your hand's on top of the ball. So that's been a big change. Like not many players, there were some, but not many back in the day did it. So now like, when you talk about little kids, like kids that can't even play, float the ball, high gather, low gather, power gather, right? Has there been a thing in football where you watch and say, man, there was nobody doing that, and now everybody's doing it?
For me, I think football, it's for the receiver position. I think it's their release game. You know, the release is at the line of scrimmage.
Got it.
These guys, they have such a big tool belt now, and they can practice. Like, my release is I would release and instinctively just go. They use it as like a weapon now where they have a counter, they have a double, they have a speed, they have you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, I think everyone's a technician now.
Gotcha.
Everyone's a technician now. And these big ass receivers, everyone get in and out of breaks. Like you watch a guy like Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson. Those guys used to be guys that just went down the sideline. You know, Jamar Chase is 210, 15 pounds, 6'1", a tall 6'1", and he can get in and out of breaks like a little guy. Yeah. You know, that's the stuff you're starting to see here, you know, in the league. And then also the rule changes have allowed guys to, you know, play across the middle. You know, it kind of happened in the middle of my career where you couldn't hit the guys like they used to.
In the head, right?
In the head, or just in general, you know. Guys, we started farming this in the young kids sports. You know, you start seeing it in Pop Warner where these guys are starting to see like your favorite guy that used to be a headhunter or a big hitter, he ain't even playing because he's suspended. So, and then the guy who's making the picks is getting paid hella money. So now DBs, they don't even go for the big hit as much. They go for an interception because you get paid if you get interceptions.
Gotcha.
So the whole game has changed. It's become a space game, very similar to basketball.
For sure.
You know how the
more
game
space is better.
It's spaced now.